Hello YouTube! Today I'm going to talk about the Tale of Genji. The Tale of Genji is the most famous Japanese novel and it's the oldest novel in the world. It's not oldest novel in Japan. It's the oldest novel in the world, the whole world. The definition of a novel is a story that has a realistic setting. The Tale of Genji was written in 1008. It's so ancient time, but it has an elaborate and realistic setting. So we can say this is the oldest novel in the world. This is written by Murasaki Shikibu, sometimes called as Lady Murasaki in English. Murasaki means purple, so this is her nickname. So we don't know his real name. Lady Murasaki made this story. She was a governess of a very high-ranked aristocrat, Fujiwara family. So she knew about the lifestyles of aristocrats very well, so she can write the story about aristocrats. The Tale of Genji is a story about aristocrats in Heian period. Heian period was 1000 years ago from now. It was the time of aristocrats. There were not samurai yet. Actually, there were some samurais, but they didn't have strong political power. Aristocrats had a bigger political power, and the samurais were guardians of those aristocrats. Samurais were lower ranked than aristocrats. In this period, those aristocrats were having a fierce promotion race. So this promotion race is an important factor of the Tale of Genji. But the main factor, mainly, the Tale of Genji is a love story. So the oldest novel in the world is a love story, and this is a really complicated love story, because so many characters are coming up in the story, and the interhuman relationship is really complicated. So the plot confuses many people in Japan. It's written in old Japanese, so it is really difficult to understand. So many Japanese think the Tale of Genji is a difficult story, but the main plot of this story is not so complicated. It's a pure love story. As long as we think this is a love story, it is not so difficult, and it's a really enjoyable story. The reason why interhuman relationships is so complicated is that in this period, men can have more than one wife. Men can have multiple wives or concubines. Heian period was pre-modern. Heian period was pre-modern society, so people didn't have equal right. Everyone was not equal in this period. It's different from today. We have to know this prerequisite of this story. The lifestyle of couples are different from today. The couples in this story don't live together. So, for example, the aristocrat men had more than one wives. So that man that man chooses a wife every night. So, so he goes to the house of each wife, alternatively. So women just waited for him to come into her house, and those women didn't show their face to the public. They had a screen. Only very limited people saw the face. For example, the staffs of that family saw the face. The life of couples is also different from today. Aristocrats men had more than one wife, and he chooses a wife to go to at that night. So he goes to different wives alternatively every night. And on the other hand, wives just waited him to come to their house. And those high-ranked women didn't show their face to the public. Only very limited people, staff or family, can see the face of those women. And how to start a love life is really different from today. Boys cannot see the face of girls, so they just texting. They just text each other. It doesn't mean texting by mobile phone, of course. They wrote letters. So they have to be intelligent to write nice letters, and they must know Chinese characters. So they studied very hard to get girlfriends, and they just exchange some letters. Then at some time, the woman allows him to come. Then he goes to her house in the night. And when they meet, when they see their face each other, they become husband and wife. This is far different culture from today. It's unbelievable, but the period is different. It's 1,000 years ago. So the Tale of Genji is a love story of an aristocrat boy. His name is Hikaru Genji. Hikaru Genji has so many wives and women who he loved. This is the main plot of the Tale of Genji. And the Tale of Genji is a really long novel. It has 54 volumes. And these 54 chapters can be separated into 3 parts. In the first 2 parts, the protagonist is Hikaru Genji. But in the third part, the protagonist is the son of Hikaru Genji. Hikaru Genji is showing up only in the first 2 parts of this long novel. In high school class, all Japanese learn some chapters of the Tale of Genji, but we must read it in classic Japanese language. It's really different from our modern Japanese language. So we must memorize so many grammatical rules of that sentences. This is so difficult to understand. But the story of the Tale of Genji is really interesting. So I want more people to know this very interesting story. So I'm talking about the Tale of Genji. In this video, I talked about the overview and the setting of the Tale of Genji. This is a really important factor to understand this story. In the following videos, I'm talking about the characters and the plot. Thank you for watching this video. See you. さよなら。